I'm Jack Levine. I'm an advocate based in Tallahassee and founder of the Four Generations Institute, and very pleased to be a part of this great event. We are here for a very important purpose, which is to pave a positive path for our children's futures. And we have some very distinguished individuals who will be sharing with you. But your voice is the most important voice for this morning's procedure. So we're pretty much paving the path for you to give us ideas and move forward as we want to invest wisely both our time and our energies on behalf of children. To more formally invite you to our great town of Lady Lake, I'll ask the police chief to come and join us for some opening remarks. Would you please join me in welcoming Chief Ed Nathanson.
Welcome to the town of Lady Lake, and we're honored that this event is being hosted here. Together, we can do anything, and together we're going to make a positive difference. Communication is the easiest thing, but it's the hardest thing. It's what we don't say that's going to cause us the most problem. And today, my goal today is to provide the ability and the opportunity for everybody to get involved, to make a difference. And I'm just a small cog in a big wheel, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to have the ability to work with you folks. And if there's anything that we can do, I go on a first name basis, so my name is Ed. If there's ever a time in our relationship when we're on opposite ends of the spectrum, my other first name is Chief.
10 years ago, maybe 1 in 1,000 children had autism. Now I think it's 1 in 125. There's a reason for that. And I think most things are better resolved on a local level than a national level. But I think that problem needs to be addressed nationally. It's a very big drain on our local school system. We have so many children in our system who are autistic at different levels, but it is. And if it isn't due to vaccines or due to fluorine in the water or whatever, I think we need to look at that issue nationally. I can order the parenting classes, but we don't have enough of them. Some churches are kind enough to offer some free of charge. Some providers have some paid classes, but that's another thing that we need to do. So whether we get retirees or not, we need, I need to be able to send somebody, I need a place to send parents for parenting classes in the hundreds, not one here or there.
My name is Garen Rogers. I'm developing a counseling center in Claremont. In the last 25 years of working with children and families in a couple of different capacities, the most sobering thing that I've come to learn is that hurt people hurt people. So I think that while we have an eye on prevention, we also need to understand that intervention is prevention for the next generation. And Judge, I did a parenting seminar in June with my wife, who is also a mental health therapist. We're both student intern level, but we're throwing ourselves into this fray. I know I don't look like a student, but we did one in June, 4-hour seminar, advertised it all over Claremont. For 6 weeks, 8 people came. I would love to do a parenting seminar for hundreds, Judge.
Hi, my name is Vicki Smith, and I'm a member of the community here in Lake County. I'm actually here on a personal mission, and I've gotten a lot of information. I have a 3-year-old niece who is one of 6 children, 4 of whom still live with their parent, 2 are living with a grandmother. I have the 3-year-old with me right now. They're out of the state of New York, and we reported to the child abuse hotline 6 weeks ago, and nothing has been done yet. I need help. I need answers. I don't know who to go to. I think the red tape is because it's out of state. The child has clearly been sexually abused. There's 6 children in this home. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to turn. We just happened to see this article in the paper, and I thank God that it was open to the community for us to come. I just need someone to talk to. We need to get, we had one initial contact with someone here from Lake County. We have called over and over and over again. And they keep saying, we'll get back to you, we'll get back to you. No one has gotten back to me. And I don't know where to go.
Ms. Smith,
And now they're,
you've got the right person in the room.
and now they're requesting that this 3-year-old go back to her parents when it's her father who is sexually abusing her. And I am the great-grandmother, and to me it is just unheard of that people just don't come to help us.
We've just tried, we don't know where else to go.
You're going to get some today.
Good morning. I'm Phil Scarpelli with the Department of Children and Families. In the last 25 years, I've worked in and around child welfare and behavioral health care. And 25 years ago, I got my graduate degree in clinical psychology, and I knew in the early years the development is very, very delicate in the developing mind of a child. And I worked in inner cities in New York working with at-risk children. And I think that, you know, when I hear the community talk about what we need for our children, I'm hearing a more sophisticated and educated community than in decades past. And what I can attest to today is that we need a paradigm shift about prevention. Prevention is really about, true primary prevention is really about understanding not the risk factors, but what are the factors that cultivate a healthy developing mind. And I think one of the key elements really is about relationships and ensuring that every child universally has at least one relationship that is healthy, that helps build upon their strengths. And if there's anything that that child learns at the earliest stages of life is that they're unconditionally accepted and loved.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Joanne Greta, and I'm from Lake Sumter Community College, and I'm the Program Manager for Early Childhood Development and Education. I've been very interested in what all of you have had to say, and I must say I agree with you. Several years ago, we began to study what makes children resilient. How did those children who went through the Holocaust come out and be productive members of society? And that one thing that stood out was that they had someone who believed in them and supported them. It might be a neighbor, it might be a relative, it might be a teacher. And this is one of the things that I say to all of my students who are in early childhood education. We can't look at the child as if they were just a part all by themselves. They come from a family.
Some of you know me and some of you don't. I'm Debbie Stivender. I was on the county commission and for 8 years, and I served with a lot of you on different committees for children. I decided I'd be better served being on the school board, so I'm a chairman at the school board for the school district, Lake County. I don't know that money is the answer. I've listened to all of you. I think that us going back, as Judge Miller and a couple of others have said, we got to start with the parents, because I found that in the school system, you have a group of kids, parents, that will show up for everything. That's probably 10%. 90% don't show up for anything. They don't even know what's going on in their kids' lives. I know they have to go out and make money, they have to do these things, but they still have to have that opportunity. They need to understand they have the opportunity to spend the time with their kids and make sure that their kids understand they're important. They're not something that just happened. And we have in our school system quite a bit of autism. We have a lot of EDB. We have teachers having to tackle kids because they're just out of control. There's a reason they're there. It isn't the teachers. It is the parents. And somehow we've got to get to the parents.
And listening to what everybody said, the ideal situation would be prenatal, because then you might be able to influence those moms to engage in a dad if there is a dad. There's some cultural changes that we need to go backwards. Almost in everything we hear, we want to go forward. Medical science, we want to go forward. Education, we want STEM, we want more. We have to go backwards a little bit and put moms and dads back into their appropriate roles. Judge, talking about the diets and the food, there's no question that we're not feeding the children right. And there's no question that they have to go to school and have an involved parent. And we do have to have a fallback agency like what Phil speaks of. What piece of this that bothers me the most is I still mentor. I'm mentoring a girl right now that is homeless in the school district. She is living with a neighbor, and I guarantee you no one knows where she's living. She's just living with someone that's picked her up and is trying to help her out. And she's in the 9th grade at a high school. This child is one of 8. Every one of them lives somewhere else other than with their parent. And her father's been incarcerated since she was 3. And when you talk to her about, I asked her, what's your dream? What do you want to do? Where do you want to travel? Anywhere in the world, where would you go? And you know where she wants to go? Disney World. She's never been anywhere, so she's never even been to a bookstore. And next Saturday we're going to go to the bookstore and look in the travel section. I've worked with the school district for a long time now, Debbie, and if it wasn't for this little elementary school over here, we got 2 children with the help of DCF, with the help of Guardian Ad Litem. We got them to sever the mother's rights. She had 5 girls. 1 already had a baby, 1 was living with her boyfriend, 3rd one was living with a police officer, and 2 of them were in foster care. We were able, after multiple tries, to sever her rights. There comes a point in time when we've done what we can do for the parent, and we've got to stop taking these kids and putting them back in that home. They get in a foster care home, they're doing well, they're eating well, they're doing well in school, and what do? We put them back in that environment. Why? So mom can get maybe more checks, so that mom can do what she has, and they bounce them back and forth, back and forth. We have got to shorten that process where we say, you know, enough's enough.
More people need to get involved, and I think life experience can say a lot as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Podishin. I've been a guardian ad litem for 2 years, and the birth parents that I have worked with are kind of the lowest of the low. And the conclusions that I've come to are thus: there are too many children in the system. And right now the voters are not going to endow more money into the system. What I would like to see happen is to shorten the time period between the children entering the system and the termination of the parental rights if the birth parents have not given any indication that they're doing anything. I would force the birth parents to attend classes and even to do some kind of work, whether they're parenting classes or some kind of GED class or something else. Too many of them are getting a free ride. Their kids get free transportation to see them. They get free transportation to see the kids. It's all at our expense. A lot of the birth parents are doing nothing. Another thing is figure out how to stop the multiple births of some of these parents. And that may mean some kind of birth control. Another thing that I've observed is the day-to-day routine of a job. Child rearing, home chores are just too much for a lot of these people to handle. And if you take a look at it, I've figured it out on paper. If someone makes $8 an hour, and that's all that most of these parents are capable of earning, a 40-hour week is $320 a week. Times 4 is $1,280 a month. When your rent is $750 if you're lucky, you've got to pay for transportation, you've got to buy food and other things. How do you make it work? And the question is, you really don't. So I don't know what the answers are, but those are some of the problems. Thank you.
My name is Nancy, and I just want to thank you, sir, for doing this. Because over the time that I have served in leadership capacities at a variety of levels, one of the things that I learned the most is that it's the graciousness of everyone's listening that gives anything that any one of us have to say meaning. So it's that mindset, it's that culture that when every individual adopts it, whether it's a child adopting it with their peers, or the teacher adopting it with their peers, the teacher adopting it with their children, the parents adopting it with their children, that really shifts the discourse and instead turns what it is we've turned into a transaction back to what Phil said, a relationship. So it is when we get into a relationship with one another that we can pretty much make anything happen.
Judy Kemp, guardian ad litem. I'm a mom, a nurse, grandma. And my experience with the program, brings me to the thought that while listening to everyone, the elephant in the room here is drug and alcohol abuse. My experience with all my clients, my kids, is there's usually drug or alcohol abuse involved. These parents, when you're terminating parental rights, I've never seen one that wants to give up their child, no matter how neglectful they have been. They don't wake up wanting to be neglectful and abusive to their children. It's all about their addiction to drugs and alcohol. And we need to deal with that.
Thank you. My name is Bill Dayuto with the Florida Department of Children and Families, and Jill, you hit it, and Marcia. And, one of the things is, we see it on the front lines along with the guardian ad litem, the ills of child abuse and the challenges that our children face. And yes, money would help, but what we found when we looked deeper into the factors and the demographics of the families that we're involved with, one of the things is they're isolated. They're alone, and money's not going to solve isolation. Getting the community involved, and that's this movement. I'm so excited to hear about it, and excited that this room was full today to come in and talk about how we're going to change the direction of our country with our children. So just getting involved. I mean, you mentioned drug abuse. Drug abuse and domestic violence are the two top reasons that we have children coming into the department's supervision, or actually into the community system that we help manage. And until we can change those two areas, I think it's going to continue.
My name is Meryl Trahan. I've been a guardian ad litem for a couple of years. My qualifications is before I came out here, I ran a multi-million-dollar corporation, and I had thousands of employees. And one thing that I knew is that if we didn't produce and deliver what we promised, we would have been out of business, which is true with any business. And government and government agencies I think are no different, or shouldn't be viewed any different. Well, I've had a lot of cases. The few people that know me in here are probably sitting on pins and needles that I'm talking right now. But what I can tell you, I've had a lot of the high-risk cases. Some of the issues are this. If you're going to provide services for these parents, then we need to make sure the services work. If you're going to provide a parenting class, you have to follow up and make sure you've got your product. Otherwise, it's like driving in a car to go nowhere. If you're going to provide drug rehab, if you're going to provide anger management, which is 3 days, I don't know, I get angry, I don't know that I could handle all my anger in 3 days. We need the actual follow-up. If you talk about wanting the money and wanting more services, while I don't disagree based on my experience, I think that it has to be effective service and follow-up. We close these cases because the parents have done a checklist of things that they have to do, but we have no idea did it work.
There is a form that each of you should have received on the way in. This is the way we know that we can continue to communicate with you, so please take every effort to fill this out legibly. James, a little advice. Our oldest is now 30, so I have some advice for you. Parenting is about slow days and fast decades. Keep a dad's journal. 3 times a week, sit down in solitude and write your thought. It's written meditation. It will be a treasury of perceptions as the years and decades go by. That's my earnest advice. There is a program that the legislature has continued to fund called Healthy Families, which has research to prove that those parents who voluntarily receive services, only 2% end up as being reported as abused, neglected. That is called 98% success. We cannot miss the opportunity. Not only does prevention outweigh a pound of cure, it far outweighs a ton of punishment. And we know the continuum is more expensive as we go deeper in, so that's why we are such great advocates of that program, and it is a Florida homegrown program, and we certainly appreciate the continued support as that goes forward. Jim, before we turn the mic back over to you, Jim has been traveling around the country, as he said, and will continue to travel. We've extended an invitation to come back for Children's Week in the last 3 days of January while the legislature is in session. I think that invitation has been accepted.
Yes.
So Jim's coming back. We're going to be able to report progress to you in the interceding 3 months. And then from then on in, we certainly want to be Florida as the star of this children's movement nationally. And we're doing our best to make that case here and as we go forward. Jim, it's been wonderful to have you with us. Chief, thank you for hosting us. And Jim, it's up to you to have last word.
You know, folks, it takes a million drops of water to fill the bucket, but until you put the first drop in, it'll never get filled. It is imperative that each and every one of us, when we start something, that we see it to fruition. If it's beyond our realm and you need more, reach out. I'm not proud. State Representative O'Toole will tell you we talk constantly. Judge Miller will tell you through the years, we will speak. James Argento will tell you, this isn't acceptable, and I'm not going to accept the standard. Don't settle. Never settle. Follow it through. And if something's not right, tell somebody. And together we're going to make that positive difference. Thank you.
One final thought. When I began this listening tour, I quite honestly didn't know what to expect. But after hearing the wisdom of people in 5 other cities and a Lady Lake now, I can only quote the end of, I think it's Casablanca, where Rick turns to Victor Laszlo, and he says, you know, this time I think our side will win. I have great hope for the children of our country because of people like you. So thank you very much.